Hi everyone, welcome to the Path of Leora. Today we're going to talk about 5 steps or practices that can help you find your footing when the waters of life get a little choppy. I'm out here today in this beautiful forest. It is a little chilly, so I did throw on a couple scarves, but it's also very bright. All the trees' leaves are like, you want to talk about growth, like, can you see this leaf? Look how gorgeous that is. Anyway, thank you, tree. I want to give you 5 practices that can help when life becomes a little unstable. There's a little bit of instability in the world in general, definitely in the US, and that's on top of just our everyday challenges that we face and the instability that just can sometimes feel like the daily grind. These practices you can do, there's no order. We all know sometimes we don't have the bandwidth. Sometimes we are in survival mode and we are just treading water and doing the doggy paddle, trying to get to shore. If some of these seem harder than others, that's okay. Start with the easy ones. See what works for you and what doesn't. Hopefully, this will help you build a resilience that will serve you in the long run. The first and last practice are kind of like the hard ones. The 3 in the middle are kind of, yeah, I get that, right? So let's just jump in. Embrace change. There's just no other, there's no other way to put it. Some folks really are change adverse, but I would argue that the more comfortable you become with change, the more quickly you are able to become aware of an instability or an issue in your life that needs to be addressed. Folks who don't like change, things they do is tend to look away from change because they're not comfortable with it. So they turn away from it. Unfortunately, many times it becomes a bigger issue for them later because it's like, yeah, it's still gonna happen and it's still gonna, but now it's like sneaking up on you. If you become comfortable with change or can embrace it to whatever degree you're able to, it leads to the ability to, not quickly, but appropriately, address how you will handle that change. If you have an awareness and a certain level of acceptance of change, you then have the cognitive ability, the logical bandwidth to say, okay, this is really happening. What should I do next? Instead of ignoring it, it becoming much bigger, and then there's panic. Think about that and how change adverse are you? Maybe you're not. Maybe you're a change agent, which then, hey, yeah, your friends need you right now. Change agents, they tend to say, okay, this is the change happening. What's my path forward? How do I need to bob and weave when it happens? Change agents usually see it when it's coming, so they have a longer time to prepare for it. And so it's not as scary for them as it is for others. That's practice 1. Now, practice 2 was actually brought up by a viewer of the previous video. She had asked about grounding. That is a wonderful thing to talk about in this beautiful, gorgeous forest that I'm in right now, because the natural world, we are so connected to the natural world. I feel like, and I am guilty of this, I'm very much in my head, and I think all the thoughts. It can cause us to feel disconnected, in a way, to the physicality of the world and to our own physicality. Grounding yourself not only brings you back to your body, but it connects your body, your physical form, to the earth that nurtures it. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Every device you have has to be recharged. Every electronic device you have has to be plugged in from time to time and reconnect with its source. Grounding is doing that for you. Grounding is reconnecting your physicality to the greatest support of yourself and your body, your physical well-being that there is. And today's society, especially Western society, American society, we're like, go get it, right? Get it done. Like, we got to do these things. I have a to-do list. Get out of my way. That right there, perfect example of being disconnected, not only from your own needs, your own true needs, but also your fellow human beings, fellow humanity. We're all on this journey together, and sometimes we need to pause and recommit to that. Grounding is a great way to do it. And there's tons of videos on it. Go to a natural environment, go out into nature, whatever form that nature takes, and just be. Just sit and be. Don't strive, just be. Feel your body, feel your breath. Listen to the birds, listen to the sounds of wherever you are, the natural sounds. Reconnect. Literally think about how you charge your phone. You plug it into an electronic source because it's an electronic creature. It needs that. You are a creature of the earth. Go out to the earth. Look at your feet on the earth. Lots of folks like to take off their socks and shoes. I'm not a big fan of being barefoot, but at the same time, I hate boots and socks. Boots and socks and boots and socks. Anyway, try it. To me, grounding is like the first aid during unstable times. Things are insecure. Things are unstable. You're still on your grind. You're still trying to do 1,000 things at once. Or you're paralyzed and you have analysis paralysis and you're on your couch and you can't do anything. That's no good either. Go do nothing outside. The next, number 3 would be seek support. We're not in this alone. We're not in any of it alone. And as I covered in my last video, even when there are storms, we're not alone. That's where the spiritual part of a lot of this comes in. These practices, they sound very practical, but your spirituality, your faith, that can really help with isolation. That can really help fight those feelings of being the only one in the storm. And we can lose sight of that. So one quick way to regain that sight is to seek support, you found this channel, yay. And you may want to find a counselor, when you're in those good places, when you're feeling strong. That's the time to build that community so that when you're not and you need guidance on that next step, you have a community to reach out to. There are very few circumstances that you can't find someone who's been through it, come out the other side, and can guide you. During uncertain times, we don't know what we don't know, right? That's the scary part. So don't lower your expectations, but you may want to be flexible with those expectations. Or you know what? Just throw them out altogether and see what comes. It's a trite phrase, right? Hope for the best, but plan for the worst. You gotta be flexible during uncertain times and be okay with being uncertain. It's not ideal, don't get me wrong. This isn't fun, but just because it's not fun, just because it's uncertain, unstable, doesn't mean you have to be. I've learned that sometimes things can turn out better than you expect. And I've been really, really blessed in that category. I've shot for good and ended up with, oh gee, you're kidding me. This is really happening right now. How do we celebrate? When I'm faced with a challenge, I try to take a neutral stance. And that is because I know if I'm full of anxiety and I panic, there's a greater chance I'll make the wrong decision for me. Whereas if I take a step back and look at the bigger picture, sometimes I'm like, well, I kind of always wanted to do that thing over there. This would free me up to do that. And maybe I wasn't taking that step because I didn't have the self-confidence. But now, maybe I go for it because this thing that was my rock, that was my stability, is gone. But you have to be flexible to be able to do that. You have to be, to take a step back or to the side or to just gain that different perspective. So flexibility would be number 4. And then this last one, I was trying to think of a way to frame it that didn't sound so ridiculous, because it could very well be the hardest one out of all 5 practices, and that is cultivate hope. And you're like, okay, yeah, you're ridiculous, because the ship is maybe not sinking, but it's definitely encountering waves. I'm being thrown side to side in this ship that I call life, right? And you're telling me to cultivate hope? I just need something to hang on to at this point. But yeah, I'm gonna say it, cultivate hope. There's not a lot of difference between hope and faith. I don't mean faith I do kind of. Faith as in a higher power or a spiritual path or a religion. All those are cool. However, it's also faith in yourself. You can have all the faith in God or creator or goddess or nature the grand architect, your higher power. Pick a vibe. They're all good. You can have all the faith, but if you don't have any faith in yourself, life is still hard, and unstable times are even harder. Because not having faith in yourself leads to not trusting yourself to make the right decisions because you've made some epic bad decisions in the past. Well, it's not a secret. We all have, right? We've all made epic bad decisions in the past. Epic. So you're not alone in that. When I say cultivate hope, I really mean a knowing, a faith in yourself, that you, yourself, are part of the solution, and that you will be able, maybe with a little guidance, maybe with seeking support, but you believe in yourself, and you believe that you can be the stable thing in your life when all of the things out of your control are unstable, right? Unstable, chaotic. You can be that calm center of the storm. Maybe not right away, but if you practice, I've given you 5, right? 5 things to practice. And I think the last one, cultivate hope, is the hardest. I'm not positive because I look away at the negative. I'm positive because I've cultivated faith in myself. And I've gone through some stuff. And so I think back to the stuff I've gone through and been like, it's not that bad. It was embrace change, ground yourself. That's like the first aid, right? Like when things are really bad, just go outside. Go outside of the building you're in. Find a potted plant and just put your hand on the dirt and ground yourself. If that's all you've got, that's all you've got. Work it. 3, seek support. And then 4, stay flexible. And 5, try to cultivate hope, which starts with faith in yourself, which can come from faith in a higher being. And then you'll find that the highs and lows aren't so drastic, right? You're not getting thrown about by life. With these videos, there's so much that I would like, so much more I'd like to say. So I've decided to drop a podcast, and that will be every Wednesday. So the videos will come out every Saturday or Sunday weekly. And then every Wednesday, there'll be a podcast that kind of goes into a little more depth. Path of Leora. We have a website and all that fun stuff. And so all the information is going to be in the description this time. I don't think I put that in the description last time. I will see you next week. And if you find yourself trying to navigate an unstable situation, remember these and let me know how it works out for you as we build this community. Okay. It's been great talking with you, and I wish you all the best in love and light.